Hi, this is Kalamos Arts, and today I'm going to be talking about putting your emotions into writing, which is ultimately the most basic structure there is to writing creatively. So, why writing? Writing may seem like a chore at times, mostly when you're writing for school, but when writing for yourself, you might find that it's actually pretty fun and beneficial. It's a productive way of relieving stress, and according to a 2011 Harvard study, which I have linked below, it can also ease anxiety and trauma. Most importantly, writing creatively has the power to help you gain self understanding by learning to control your emotions and being able to put them on paper. The first and most basic type of creative writing is something called free writing. Free writing is exactly what it sounds like, writing for however long in whatever format about basically anything you want, and comes in forms such as journaling. Journaling is an effective way of free writing and is able to track everyday emotions and patterns if you make it a habit of journaling every day. This includes personal writing such as diary entries or mood charts, which is able to improve your communication skills by communicating with the paper on how you're feeling and what you want to say. Since you're doing all of this in writing, it also exercises your writing voice. Starting to journal is super easy because you set your own rules, and it's almost the same as talking to yourself. You can start whenever you want, and once you make it a habit, you will definitely start to see some changes in your behavioral and writing patterns. Another really popular form of free writing are character journals. These are actually something I love to do when prepping for a novel or some other work of fiction I'm planning. Character journals are basically journaling, but from the point of a fictional character you've created or taken inspiration from. While this helps understand your character better and also puts yourself into their shoes momentarily, it helps you connect your emotions to that character. This not only connects you with the paper, but also with the story you're writing, which is the most important building block in planning a plot. Character journals can come in forms such as interviews with your character, a short outline of how their day looked like, or a diary entry from their point of view. I would recommend character journals for newer character you've created in your writing. It honestly helps a lot, not only with just the story plot, but also with dialogue and basically any scene to do with your character. So, since free writing can be a lot of work, especially if done on a tight schedule, here are some reasons you definitely might want to check it out. The first benefit is probably the most important, and if you're interested in creative writing, this will definitely give you a starting point. Free writing, such as journaling or character journals, are able to develop your writing ability and voice. Since you would be writing constantly, you would be getting used to your writing style as well as understanding it more, which is a super important part of being able to write creatively, whether it's poems, screenplays, or even a big project like a novel. Secondly, it's able to break writer's block. If you're a more experienced writer who is currently in a writing slump, free writing is the perfect way to oil your gears and ease back into your writing schedule. Character journals would be super helpful for this as it powers your mind to think more about your story and can sometimes generate really great ideas. The third benefit is kind of similar, in which free writing can declutter your minds. This, I say, is more therapeutic than developing just your writing voice, but it's definitely true. Journaling or writing some sort of diary entry to just get out your feelings onto a page really does have the power to release a lot of stress and trauma from your mind. It's a great exercise and you can't really go wrong with it, especially when you're taking control of your emotions and being productive at the same time. Another basic form of writing, often used to express emotions onto a page, is poetry. Since there are many forms of poetry, which I'll focus on in a future video, I'm going to focus on the most therapeutic / emotion-based form of poetry there is for beginners. This would be free verse, which is the most popular form of poetry today. I would say this form of poetry is the most modern. If you picked up a Gen Z poetry book from Barnes& Noble, I would say there's a 95% chance of it being free verse. Free verse is basically just what it sounds like. It's poetry but in whatever form, length, or style you want it to be. You can write 2 sentences and call it a day, and it would still be considered a form of free verse poetry. Free verse is my personal favorite writing style of this video because I do use it so often, especially when I just want to get my emotions out onto a page. It's super easy to just put down your raw emotions because you don't have to worry about length, form, style, anything, which is really nice. In return, this is also the rawest form of poetry because the writer is able to just write it as it comes to their mind. 2 of the most popular free verse books right now is Milk and Honey and The Sun and Her Flowers, both by Ruby Kaur. You might have heard about these on TikTok or Instagram, but they're honestly so full of emotion and range in so many types of writing. So if you're looking into free verse, I would definitely recommend checking these books out. Here are the benefits of writing free verse poetry. 1. There are no restrictions, which therefore allows focus on artistic expression. If you're looking into starting to write creatively rather than just maybe a journal or diary entry, it's a great starting point and is super therapeutic. Because of how raw it is also able to develop your original writer's voice. Free verse also takes significantly less effort than trying to write another form of poetry because you don't need to focus on rules such as how many syllables you can write, the length, etc. This is really good for beginners and also is a lot more enjoyable for somebody who is newer to writing. So here are some other various forms of writing if you're a more experienced writer who may have dabbled in these previously. In this video, I'll be briefly focusing on how to write your emotions in the four of them: screenwriting, playwriting, novel writing, and short stories, including flash fiction. So screenwriting and playwriting are very similar in their formatting and sort of how the plot would pan out throughout a piece. Screenwriting would be a script meant for a TV show, movie, or short film, really just anything that would be filmed on camera. So it does focus on camera direction, visual aspects, dialogue, and just something an audience would be able to watch. The way you would be able to express emotions through screenwriting, as it's a pretty different format than just writing a story or free writing, would ultimately be through character action or dialogue. This will be focused on how to visually and audibly show the audience how the character is feeling, which I will do a video on in the near future. Playwriting is a script for a play or on-stage production, so unlike screenwriting, it doesn't focus on camera direction, but rather the stage direction for the actors. Displays of emotion would also be shown through character dialogue or action, just like in a screenplay. Novels and short stories are, in a way, easier to express emotion through because you do have a sufficient amount of time to develop a plot, and while writing a story, you're able to kind of go behind the scenes, unlike a screenplay or script, into the characters and their thoughts. Novel writing is a longer form of writing, separated by chapters. In a way, it can be a really long short story or a series in which there is a more complicated plot and character development. Short stories are similar in the way that emotions would also be shown through the plot or character point of views, but there is a shorter amount of time to develop an emotionally deep plot. This is because it's shorter than a novel and can even be a page or less. Sometimes, if a short story is so short that it's reduced to only a few sentences, it's called flash fiction. So here are some helpful writing exercises to help you connect your emotions to your writing more, as well as develop your overall writing voice. I found that these are very effective, especially to newer writers. The first exercise is to 1. Look around and pick a singular object in the room, 2. Set a 10-minute timer, and 3. Free write for 10 minutes about the point of view of that object. I really love this exercise. Whenever I need something to get my creative juices flowing, I always do this. The benefits of this exercise are that it connects you to your surroundings as well as allows you to funnel your emotions into that object, which then transfers to the page. You can do this as many times as you want with any object of your choice, and it's super convenient and builds writing strength through practice. The second exercise is to write a short scene in which all character development comes from dialogue. This means no descriptions of how a character is feeling or what they're doing, only what they're saying. I found that this exercise mostly benefits screenwriters or playwriters, who have to show emotions in their pieces through visual aspects or dialogue. This definitely builds strength in this area because it is pretty hard and connects to the writer. Exercise 3 is probably my favorite. You'll need a dictionary for this. So you'll flip to a random page in the dictionary and pick a word. Then you'll write a one-page story starting with that word. It can be about anything, and you have so much free rein with it, which is why I love it. But it also does reel you back in with having to form a story around that one word you chose. This allows you to practice your scope of writing, seeing what you're able to come up with based on any word. It's also honestly a really fun way to kill time. Exercise 4 is for people who want to connect more to poetry. It is to look around wherever you are and make 5 sensory observations for each of your senses: taste, sight, smell, touch, and hearing. Then you'll write a poem about them. This is similar to the first exercise as it does connect you to your surroundings and also allows you to funnel your emotions into an object, which then will transfer onto the page. When practiced a lot, this can develop your writer's voice in terms of poetry and can really help you get comfortable with playing around with other styles of poetry. That is all for the exercises, and I hope with this new information you'll be able to start writing.